Okay, I'm going to tell you a Throwback Thursday story on the way home. And this one is kind of sad. Yeah, I was working the second watch, Eastern Division, up in Sierra Mesa, which is beat 46. Working a one-man unit, which is 46 John. And I get a radio call to go to the local junior high to take a rape report. Well, you know, school's over with. School's been out and all the kids have gone home and stuff. So on the way over there, I don't have much more information other than to make contact in the office with the principal. So I'm assuming that it was one of the students got raped either after school or on the way home or something like that, right? Wrong. That would have been bad enough, but you know, this is just as bad also. I'll get there and to make contact with the principal. He introduces me to a teacher. And as it turns out, the teacher is all beat up. And anyways, what had happened is one of her ex-students, who was now a high school student, a boy, come over and asked to go visit his old teacher. Well, the office says, sure, go on back and visit your old teacher. Not thinking anything about it. He goes back to visit his old teacher. Well, I guess he gets in the classroom with her, makes her lock the door, and beats the crap out of her and rapes her. Spends about an hour back there doing this, beating her up and raping her, and then leaves her on the floor of the classroom and just leaves, walks off. Now, she gets herself together and gets on the phone and calls the office. The office, I guess, sit down, the principal down there, and they got her up to the office. They were, you know, trying to help her out in the nurse's office and stuff. Well, I wanted to call in the ambulance, of course, to have her take to the hospital and get a rape exam done and get her injuries taken care of. But she said she would go do that after hours on her own private medical insurance. And I said, well, you know, make sure that you get a rape exam kit done and that they call the hospital, calls the police department, has an officer come and take control of it for the chain of evidence. And she, you know, assured me that she would do that. Now the thing is, I had all the suspect information, knew who the kid was and everything, because he was an old student of hers. So I get on the radio, and when I cleared that report, asked to have the sergeant go over to the tax frequency with me and tell him what I got, and I asked him permission, you know, to go over to the suspect's house and arrest his ass. Well, this was the sergeant that he and I never got along with. And he told me, no. Stay on your beat. Answer your radio calls. Take your reports. Turn the report in. Let the detectives follow up tomorrow morning. And go and make the arrest on the kid. So, that's what I did. I finished up my report. I attached a note to it to the detectives, telling them that my sergeant didn't allow me to do any further follow-up on it last night, and that the victim was going to go to her hospital on her private insurance and was going to call and have an officer come and watch or supervise over the rape exam kit and collect that for evidence. So that should be in evidence. Need to check with dispatch about that. So a few days go by, and I check back with the detectives, and sure enough, yes, the teacher did go to her private hospital through her insurance. They did do a rape exam kit that did get collected. It went down to downtown Central and was getting booked in. They had contacted her and had requested a warrant for his arrest. Gone out to the house to arrest him, but he was long gone in the wind, and I don't know if they ever found him or not. Never had to go to court on it, so for all I know, that could have gone unsolved. He could have taken off in the state and left, and they'd never got him. Now, I'm pretty sure that my sergeant would have let me go off my beat on the other side of the freeway into the other district where the kid lived and gone to his house. And I could have contacted the sergeant in charge of that area and have the beat officer over there meet up with me and knocked on the door. I'm sure the dumb shit kid would have answered the door and we could have arrested him without having to have an arrest warrant, because it was a felony that had just been committed. In a timely manner, I was doing a follow-up and in pursuit of him. And I would have had every legal right to cross over the freeway into another district and make a knock-and notice and arrest the kid. But that didn't happen. All because my sergeant was an asshole. Anyways, the main thing about this story is people wonder why the schools are so secured now and we won't let ex-students go on to campus to visit their old teachers. Things of that nature. Well, that is a perfect example of why those things are no longer allowed, because we live in different times than when we were kids. When we were kids, we would have never thought of going back to school and beating up our teachers and raping them. We would have never thought of taking guns on the campus and shooting people. I mean, that kind of crap just didn't happen back in our day. So that's why schools are so secure. That's why so many schools have armed security. And I'll tell you, it's only getting worse, not better. Well, I know this is a story that's hard to like, because it was a terrible thing to have happen, and it didn't have a happy outcome. So, make some comments and come back again next week for another Throwback Thursday story. Maybe I'll think of something funnier by then. Bye-bye. See y'all later.